and a few other patriots, is a very, very similar situation. There was what I would call a scuffle in Sevenoaks several months ago, and it was nothing more than that. I've seen more violent primary school fights than what happened in Sevenoaks, and Dee was involved. Nothing serious happened. There was nobody seriously hurt, not on the Antifa side anyway. And basically, as far as I could see, the so-called anti-fascists threw the first punch and attacked Dee and his friends in a Marks and Spencer's car park. And one of the lads that was with Dee actually ended up getting hit on the head with either a bottle or a sharp implement and had to have hospital treatment. But that was the most serious thing that happened. In other words, the most serious incident in this whole thing was an attack on one of the gentlemen that was with Dee. Dee went over there to England from Northern Ireland because he loves his country and he wants to protect his country. He went to a Generation Identity event, and the Generation Identity event was targeted for violence by these so-called anti-fascists, who I believe are actually the real fascists. So Dee, tell us what happened. Tell us what you were doing in England. Just give us a bit of context to why you went over there and exactly what happened on that. Was it a Saturday?
Yes, it was a Saturday. We went over for the conference, and it was meant to be in central London to start with, but it got shut. The location had to be changed the night before because the police threatened the location that there would be violence if it carried on. So they relocated to Kent.
So where was the violence? What was the threat of violence coming from? Who threatened to attack the venue?
Well, Antifa had made it clear online that they were going to target the event and the attendees.
So there was an actual threat of violence from Antifa if the event took place in London?
So the police went and spoke with the venue, and the venue cancelled. So they got a new venue at the last minute the next day. So we went to the event. The conference was success for a couple of hours, and then Antifa found out the location through Hope Not Hate. They released it online, and then they phoned the venue and threatened violence against the venue.
So can I just stop you there? So Hope Not Hate released that information to Antifa.
Yeah.
So Hope Not Hate, who professed to be a peaceful organisation, gave that's your understanding, that they gave the information to Antifa
online,
so that Antifa would then target the event. That's what we believe happened.
Yeah. Then after a couple of hours of the event, speakers speaking and all, the Antifa phoned up the Stag in Sevenoaks and threatened violence against it. So the location management came with the police, and we all left peacefully. The conference was near enough over anyway.
So the police didn't say they were going to protect you from Antifa. They didn't say they were going to keep you safe. Did the police ask you guys to leave? Did they, or what was the situation?
They told us we had to leave. Yeah.
The police told you had to leave.
Yeah.
Because you'd been threatened by a violent terrorist organisation.
Yeah.
The police told you that you were the ones that were basically having to leave.
The peaceful legal conference had to shut down, take the stuff and go. I think they were given like 20 minutes to clear the place out. So we left all peacefully, and as we made our way down the street, that's when we were basically ambushed by Antifa.
And what exactly happened with the ambush? I mean, were Antifa, were they wearing masks? How were they behaving?
I'd say there was maybe 30 to 40 of them standing all. They're all fully masked, hoods up, dressed in black, ready to ambush people.
And obviously you're not from the country. You don't know anybody that's there. Yeah. You're basically on your own. Yeah. And okay, you're with a group, but you don't know the group that you're with. You don't know anything about those guys. So you must have, I take it, felt threatened by masked men, especially if you think about your context. You're coming from Northern Ireland, and masked men have a connotation in Northern Ireland for obvious reasons. So you must have felt particularly threatened by that.
I was very threatened. Felt very uncomfortable, and they just all started swearing and shouting at us and pushing us, and next thing the scuffle broke out. Right,
so obviously the adrenaline's going. By the time they attack you, you're thinking that someone's going to basically assault you, or worse, because they're masked and they could have weapons.
They were assaulting people.
And was anybody seriously hurt? Was there on your side? Was there anyone injured?
There was one guy. He was hit with a weapon. He was split open with the weapon. There was one girl, had big chunks of her hair pulled out. I was assaulted. Other members were assaulted, and they were attacking people from behind and stuff.
And of course, you guys were really just defending yourselves from a group that had deliberately gone out to target your event.
They travelled 35 mile or more to actually track us down, to attack us. They were allowed to stand in a car park in the middle of the day, fully masked, with no police going near them. The police failed to keep the two crowds apart after they made us leave the conference.
And how long did it take the police to get there when the scuffle or the attack by Antifa on you guys started? How long did it take the police to get there?
10-15 minutes maybe. And this is with a police CCTV camera in the car park.
So there's a police CCTV camera there. There's police in the vicinity because they've just moved you away from the actual event. And again, I've seen some of this footage. From what I could tell, from what I saw from you guys, you didn't actually really hurt anyone. Yes, there was a little bit of pushing and shoving, and some punches were swung, and whether there were any connections or not is another story. Has anybody from the other side put any complaints in against you guys for assault or anything, or against you personally?
Not that I know of.
So there's nobody said that you assaulted them?
No, the charges are mainly violent assembly, which is when 3 or more people are in the one location fighting, which may cause fear to members of the public.
Right, and so from your point of view, you left the event and you thought that was just the end of it. You thought there's been a scuffle, because it didn't look like any more than a scuffle, obviously, apart from one of your guys getting quite seriously injured when he was hit on the head with something. So there was a scuffle, you left the venue, you came back to Northern Ireland and thought, well, that's it. You've got a family, you've got two kids, a girlfriend, you've got a stable job, you've got a steady life over here. So you just thought, well, look, I'm going to get on with my life. I'm concerned about my country, but you weren't expecting anything else to happen, I take it.
I'd been in London since that as well.
Right, so you were at other events in London, Patriot events in London. Yeah. What happened to you last weekend? Because this is what I find very disturbing. What actually happened last weekend?
On Friday past, I was about to leave the house for work, and I heard the door knock. I opened it. It was police officers basically pounced on me. Recognised English accents, which I thought was strange, and they identified themselves as a special tactical unit from Kent Police.
A tactical unit?
Yeah. So
this is basically the equivalent of an anti-terrorist operation?
These guys' role is to actually travel all around the world and to bring people back to the UK for trial. So they'd basically be going after big drug lords and stuff, and maybe Costa del Sol or wherever else. But
they're coming for you for a scuffle in a car park, in a Marks and Spencer's car park in Sevenoaks.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm laughing. Ironically, it just seems ridiculous that something that really to anybody that's seen violence of any sort, when you look at that footage, it looks really like something that you'd see in a school playground in primary school.
Yeah.
It didn't look like anything more than that.
Yeah.
So they took you, handcuffed you. What happened?
Handcuffed me. No, first of all, they brought me into the living room, sat me on the couch, confiscated my mobile, searched me, got my clothes, searched the clothes, and then got me up, handcuffed me and all. This is all while my kids were around me.
How were the kids reacting? Were they upset?
They were a bit scared. Maybe 5-6 strangers in the house taking their dad out the door.
And what about your girlfriend? Was she there as well?
Yeah, she was there. She was petrified as well. And then basically the kids seen it all.
It's shocking, isn't it? And then what happened? So they took you, and where did they take you after that?
Well, it was they were assisted by the police service in Northern Ireland. They drove us to Belfast City Airport, and that was at like 10 to 12 or something. They arrested me. They escorted me through the airport, handcuffs and all, straight through security, on the plane, and flew me over to Heathrow Airport, where the Met Police were waiting with a van. They escorted us through the airport, and then there was the jeep and a car waiting for us. They brought me in that, and then brought me to Maidstone Police Station in Kent, and that's where they interrogated me.
And did you have any legal representation while you were being interrogated? Did you have a solicitor there?
I had a on-duty solicitor, what the police recommended.
Right. Yeah. And how did he help you at all? Was he helpful?
Looking back, I don't think he was really that helpful. No.
And what are the police saying? I mean, what does your solicitor say the outcome of this could be?
He told me to prepare myself mentally for 18 months to 2 years in jail.
18 months to 2 years in jail
Yeah.
for a schoolyard scuffle.
Yeah.
That's absolutely shocking. Do you think, I mean, what this sounds like to me, it sounds like that this is political policing and that the reason that you were arrested is because you're part of the Patriot movement. Do you think that would be an accurate thing to say?
I believe so, yes.
Because there was nobody seriously hurt.
No.
Nobody was hospitalised.
It was self-defence. We didn't go there for any fighting, didn't expect any fighting. We were tracked maybe nearly 40 miles from the centre of London.
And I mean, if you, God forbid, got a jail sentence, and you were imprisoned in the south of England because of what you've been involved in and because of the nature of the event you were at, you would actually be in very grave danger in a prison in England because of similar to what happened to Tommy, because of the high Muslim population, especially with Muslim terrorists and Muslim fundamentalists and Muslim rape gangs in those prisons. If you were in that prison scenario, it could be potentially
daily, maybe.
Yeah, potentially life-threatening. We think of that lad that got 12 months for throwing bacon at a mosque, and he's dead now.
Suspicious circumstances.
Yeah, Bunny died in prison. So I mean,
the likes of Tommy and stuff, and Paul Golding and whoever else, they're all high profile, so they have to protect them. What the rest of us probably.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? And let's be honest, they didn't really protect Tommy too well either, did they? And they didn't protect Paul Golding that well, because as far as I know, Paul Golding had his nose broken while he was in prison, and Tommy came out of prison looking like he'd been in a concentration camp.
Yeah.
You know, he looked like he'd been in the gulag, not like he'd been in an English prison, because he was afraid of his food being tampered with. Yeah. He was afraid of attack. He was afraid of poisoning, and he literally stayed in that prison in absolute fear. So someone like yourself, who's just gone over there because you're a patriotic man, because you love your country, would you be afraid of that sort of outcome? Would that?
It's a grim possibility, so it is, and thinking about it causes stress and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very, very distressing. And what about your family? Obviously, your girlfriend, she was very upset by the situation. Yeah. How are they dealing with all this?
They're very worried as well.
And what about your employer? I mean, does your employer know what's happened, or is
not yet? No.
Not yet, right? And do you think it might affect your job at all, or
could yet?
Yeah. I mean, I think what we've got here is something that's very sinister, because if you put the pieces of the jigsaw together, and again, this is just me as a layman, and I'm not a legal expert by any means, but as a layman, you guys were targeted. You had to move venue, right? Yeah. The venue you were in was closed down because of threats from a terrorist organisation.
Yeah.
The police moved you on from that venue. You then moved on down the road where there was a car park full of masked men.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? You're either going to run away, or you're going to stand your ground and not run away. And obviously you guys stood your ground, and then it looks like they instigated the violence. Nobody's seriously hurt, and yet a TAC team from England comes and arrests you, takes you away in handcuffs, takes you like you're a terrorist to Maidstone police station, and after that, when you've been interrogated and really intimidated by this, you're told by your duty solicitor that you could be looking at 2 years in prison. Yeah. To me, this is completely political policing.
And there was guys done, as far as I know, there was guys done for the same charge from Dover and all. Some of them got up to 5 to 7 years. 5 to 7 years? Yeah. My goodness. For the same charge.
For the same charge. And again, it was, as far as I know, the Dover thing was a similar situation where Antifa attacked a Patriots march in Dover that was concerned about migrants, I think, sneaking into the country and that sort of thing, wasn't it?
I don't know much about it. But
really, all you're doing, as far as I can see, is you're concerned about your children. You've heard
Rotherham.
About Rotherham and Rochdale and Telford, and I mean, according to Lord Pearson, member of House of Lords, there could be up to 1 million girls have been raped by racist rape gangs in the United Kingdom. So you're quite within your rights to be concerned about immigration, about people coming into your country that don't share the same religion or the same culture, and the disturbances that's causing right the way throughout the whole of Western civilization.
In Manchester, where maybe 21 kids were blew up, and
exactly, little girls just going to a concert, and when you see children getting targeted, you see teenagers getting targeted, you think about your own children. That's where I was like. Yeah. That's why I got involved in this. I saw the Manchester attack,
There was a brave police officer who was murdered in London outside the Houses of Parliament.
A veteran as well. He's a veteran. PC. I think his name was Keith. I think it was Keith Palmer. Yeah. And he stood and fought against the terrorists, same as PC Wayne Marcus, who fought. You see, the rank and file police officers are not the problem. It's the politicising of policing and the politicising of the judicial system that I think is very sinister. And it's similar to the sort of the hate speech laws that have been passed and all these sort of things. But what I see in you is I see you are a victim of an attack, and you're a person who has not backed down, but you haven't done anything excessively violent, and you're being targeted and bullied. Really by the state and by the hard left. And the thing that I think is shocking is the hard left seem to be providing cover for Islamists. They're more concerned about coming after people like you and Tommy than going after the 450 Islamic terrorists who they know have sneaked back into the country from Syria, who were beheading children, raping people. And they're still walking about, and yet you're being hauled off to the police station and prosecuted. Absolutely scandalous. I mean, from your point of view, I mean, what do you think the future holds for you? I mean, what are your plans? What are you going to do?
Well, if I go to jail, my kids will be forced into poverty. Be no income for them.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest worry.
Yeah, it's I think it's an absolutely despicable situation. Well, Dee, we wish you all the best. I hope that this has a good outcome for you. I think anyone on Facebook that's watching this, I think before this gets to the stage where Dee is sent to prison, we need to start taking action and start a Justice for Dee campaign so that we can avoid him getting a prison sentence. Obviously, for a lot of reasons, he doesn't want his face to be shown on camera just yet. But as things progress, for all these lads, is it going to be the Sevenoaks 10? I think there's 10 of them have been arrested for this scuffle, and I think the Patriot movement needs to get behind these people and support them and support their families. So we're going to look at what action we can take, and whenever we can start taking action on this issue, we'll obviously keep everybody updated and let you know what's going on. But I think this is a very, very chilling society that we live in now, when people can be dragged away from the family for something that was little more than a schoolyard fight. I think it's absolutely insane policing. It's criminal policing, and that's what patriots are up against in the 21st century. If you're an enemy of the state, you can be one step away from Prime Minister. If you're trying to protect the people and to protect your country, you're looking at a jail sentence. Thank you, Dee.
Thank you.
Well, very well.